Yes, welcome back once again as we take another look at more of the racing highlights from the Scottish Classic Round 5 event that was held here at Wittas Park in Bassenthwaite. Now this of course is part 2 of 3 videos that we're going to post, so let's get down to the start line for our next race of the day, which is the combined pre-68s up to and over 350cc and the pre-75s up to and over 300cc, and this will be their third race of the day. And so as the riders leave the line, looks like a good start by Liston Bell and Tony Barnes there. Oh, looks like we've got a bit of a collision at the back of the pack there. I think that's number 197 Chris Trotton and 28 Mike Walker, who have had a bit of a coming together there. Looks like Mike's lost the seat from his little KTM. So as the riders head up to the far side of the track on lap 1, it looks like it's Tony Barnes who's your race leader, number 56 on the big 4-stroke CCM. Liston Bell is currently in second position. Derek McCauley is in third there on the 250 Bull Tackle Pursang, and in fourth place it looks like Lewis Bell. Fifth place is number 125, that's Ian Stainton, riding one of those reproduction clues stroker machines. And as you can see, the track is still in fantastic condition. Thankfully, not too much dust flying, mainly due to that wet weather we had on the Saturday night. But as they complete lap 1, it's number 56, Tony Barnes, your race leader, being pursued by number 98 at Liston Bell. So Tony Barnes looks like he's got that big 4-stroke CCM bike dialed in to this Wittas Park racetrack here at Bassenthwaite. Of course, he's being pursued by Liston Bell there from Scotland. I'm not sure what bike Liston's riding at this point. It looks like it could be his big Tribsa, but of course I've been known to be wrong before. But it's currently number 56, Tony Barnes, your race leader. Second position is number 98, Liston Bell. So things looking quite favourable for Tony Barnes at this point in the race. He's still managing to keep Liston Bell behind him as he comes round to complete another racing lap. So as they cross the line, it's still Tony Barnes who leads number 98, Liston Bell. And as I said, this is part 2 of the racing footage coverage from this round 5 event. There is of course one more video to be posted, and you can see all of the remainder of the racing from this event in that final part 3 video. But here's the battle at the front between number 56 Tony Barnes and number 98 Liston Bell. Both these riders have got quite a decent lead over third placed positioned rider, which certainly looks like number 9 Lewis Bell, the younger brother of Liston, in second position. Normally the two brothers do have quite a good battle on the track, but it looks like Lewis has not got a relatively fast bike underneath him, so he's well behind these two at the front. But it looks like Liston Bell has now taken the lead of this race over number 56 Tony Barnes, but it looks like Tony's not giving up that pole position just yet, so this is a good scrap here at the front between these 4-stroke race bikes. And it looks like Tony Barnes is lining up a pass on Liston Bell. Liston went a bit wide there, so it looks like Tony's taken the advantage down the inside and has retaken the lead of this race as both riders pass Stevie Shaw there on his what looks like a twin port CZ bike. But this is a good race here at the front between Tony Barnes and Liston Bell. But as the riders come round on their last and final lap, it looks like it's going to be a win for number 56, Tony Barnes, with Liston Bell in second position. So just one more turn to go for Tony Barnes to take his first win of the day. So it certainly is a good win there for number 56, Tony Barnes, with Liston Bell coming across the line in second position. So that quite nicely brings us on to race 10, which is the pre-1984 250 class. Quite a decent turnout of 250 bikes, but look out for number 43 Ryan Ireland and number 81 Chris Cannon. But as they leave the line, it looks like it's going to be the whole shot for Ryan Ireland on the CR250 Honda Red Rocket. So it's Ryan Ireland, your race leader. Second is number 22, that's Peter Carr. Third place is Chris Cannon as they go into turn 2. And of course it's 6 laps of this Wittas Park racetrack for these pre-1984 250s. But naturally we won't be covering every single lap because these are just the racing highlights. But as the bikes come towards us, it's still number 43 Ryan Ireland who leads number 22 Peter Carr. Third place is number 81 Chris Cannon on the RM 250 Suzuki. Some quite quick riders in this 250 class. Looks like fourth place is number 15, that's Jim Grieve. So as they complete lap 1, it's number 43 Ryan Ireland who leads number 22 Peter Carr. Third is Chris Cannon coming through there, and fourth place is number 114, I think that's Anthony Pye on the Honda, and number 67 just making his way through there, that's Mike Tweddle. But this man here is certainly having a very good day here at Wittas Park. Ryan Ireland, I think Ryan's already won about 4 races thus far, so he's certainly having a very good day here at Bassenthwaite. So it's number 43 Ryan Ireland, your race leader. Second is still number 22 Peter Carr. Chris Cannon is still in third, number 81 on his RM250 Suzuki. And so as our race leader comes round to complete another racing lap, it's still number 43 Ryan Ireland on the 250 Honda Red Rocket, and it should still be number 22 Peter Carr just going into the turn there with Chris Cannon in third position, and just making his way through there is number treble 6, that's Damien Roberts. But yet again, this is another dominant display from this very talented rider, Ryan Ireland, number 43. Ryan's got quite a decent lead now over at number 22 Peter Carr, so he could just about stop for a cup of coffee and get back on the bike and still be in the lead. But here's your second place man coming across the line, Peter Carr, number 22, and it's still Chris Cannon at number 81 in third. And just coming towards us on the left hand side in the white bike, that's number 37 David Herdman, and he's just been passed by number 43 Andy Mallock on that 250 Montesa. But he's certainly been the man of the meeting thus far here today at Wittas Park, Ryan Ireland, as you can see, now cruising around this racetrack as he comes round to complete another racing lap, and we're just going to watch to see who comes through in second position. It should be Peter Carr at number 22. And of course, after we've finished posting all of this racing footage from this round 5 event at Wittas Park, we will of course then get back to profiling more of those old school type of motorcycles. And we have quite a few rare and iconic bikes currently in the pipeline, so make sure that you subscribe to Classic Dirt Bike TV so you don't miss out on any of those up and coming machines. So it's still at number 43 Ryan Ireland as he comes round to begin his last and final lap of this race. Second place coming through there is still number 22 Peter Carr on the 250 Honda Elsinore. Chris Cannon is still currently there in third position. And on the right hand side there, just going through, is number 67 Mike Tweddle as he just passes John Sinnott. Number 1, or number 15 if you like, is Jim Grieve. But this certainly looks like it's just been another normal day at the office for this man here, number 43 Ryan Ireland, as he cruises to yet another race win and takes the checkered flag. But our race finisher there on the right, Gary Britton, should have the checkered flag out this time, but he's still put the last lap flag out. But the race has already been won by Ryan Ireland, and here's your second place man, Peter Carr, in second, with Chris Cannon crossing the line in third. Now there's a legendary face from way back in the day. That's Mike Barnes there, a long-time CCM rider, and Mike was one of the very first people ever to have an Alan Clues stroker machine, but certainly a racing legend around these parts. Which again brings us quite nicely onto race 11. This is the pre-77s and pre-1989 125s. So the riders leave the line. Looks like Alex Martin has once again made a good start there as they go into turn 1. So as they come towards us, it's Alex Martin, number 78 on the left there, who's made a cracking start. Mark Reynolds has also made a good start there in second position on the Myco, number 7. Looks like Matt Slinger is in third place on that YZ 400 Yamaha. So again, it's been quite a good start here by the youngster at number 78, Alex Martin, as he leads the pack on lap 1. Currently it's number 7, Mark Reynolds in second position. 34 again is Matt Slinger. It looks like Steve Dent is currently in fourth position as they make their way up the hill. Again, it's 6 laps, I'm sure, for these pre-77s and 125s. As I said, not too many pre-77 bikes in this class for this event, but we could certainly do with a lot more of these old school 1977 bikes. So as they complete lap 1, it's still number 78 Alex Martin who now leads at number 34 Matt Slinger. Looks like it's number 81, that's Brian Stobart, who is currently in third, and it looks like Steve Dent is in fourth as they make their way up the hill. Now this of course is round 5 of the Scottish Classic Club's current 2023 championship, with still 2 rounds remaining. Round 6 of course will be at Falkirk at the beginning of September, and of course their last and final event of this year will be held at Whitekirk in East Lothian at the end of September. And if you'd like more details of those remaining rounds, then why not just pay a visit to the club's website at classicscrambles.com, where you can find all of that information you require. So we're back with our race leader once again as he comes round to complete another lap. It's still number 78, Alex Martin, who leads at number 34 there. That's Matt Slinger on that lovely YZ400 Yamaha that we had a look at in our paddock walkabout. And as I mentioned, we don't have too many pre-77 bikes in this class today, but if you've maybe got an old pre-77 vintage bike somewhere under a cover in your garage or workshop, then why not bring it back to life and then put it back on the track once again, because we're always on the lookout for more pre-1977 machines. So we're back with our two race leaders. Number 78 on the left there is Alex Martin on the little CR125 Honda, and Matt Slinger there is riding an old pre-77 YZ 400. So certainly a good scrap here between the little 125 of Alex Martin and Matt Slinger's 400 YZ Yamaha. Number 7 just coming into shot again, that's Mark Reynolds on what looks like a 1979 Michael. But Alex Martin still managing to keep that bigger bike of Matt Slinger's behind him. So this has been another good performance here from the youngster on a little 125 water-cooled Honda. Both of these riders now, of course, on their last and final lap, so just a couple of turns to go for Alex to secure the win, but it looks like Matt Slinger's got other ideas as they make their way up the hill, but it looks like it's going to be a win for number 78, Alex Martin on the Honda 125, and it's going to be Matt Slinger who crosses the line in second position. So next up, this is race 13, and it's the last race for the pre-1984 over 250s before we go to the half-time lunch break, which of course after that we will have all of the age-related races. So looks like the riders are good to go. Looks like a good start there by number 368. I think that's Andy Farr who has taken the whole shot, but it's that man again, I think, number 43, Ryan Ireland, who's taken the lead. David Loudon is currently in third position. Number 74 just going through there is Alan Bott. Alan, of course, this time back out on one of his spare bikes because he had a bit of mechanical trouble earlier on, so Alan using one of his standby Michaels in this race. So as the riders make their way round on lap 1, it is indeed number 368, that's Andy Farr, who is your current race leader. Second is Ryan Ireland on the 250 Honda Red Rocket. I think that's a 490 Micro that Andy Farr is currently riding. So, and oops, looks like Andy's maybe missed a gear or something there going into the turn, so that's given Ryan Ireland the cue to go past. So as they complete lap 1, it's still Ryan Ireland, your race leader. Number 368, Andy Farr, is second. Number 75, David Loudon, is in fourth position. Number 93, just going past there, is Nigel Sowerby, and number 95 is Gary Sowerby. But I've almost lost count as to how many races this man has won this afternoon. I think it's currently about 4 or maybe even 5 races thus far, so this has certainly been the man of the meeting for me, Ryan Ireland, number 43. Second place is still number 368, Andy Farr. David Loudon, number 75, is in third. David Loudon this time, of course, is out on his YZ 490 Yamaha because he had that problem with his YZ 465 in the previous race, so David's had to opt to use his bigger 490 this time round. Just going through there is number 95 again, Gary Sowerby. Number 46 is Jonathan Bethel on the big Husqvarna, but Jonathan appears to be quite well down the pack in this race, but it looks like we've got another mechanical problem for Alan Bott's Myco, so that's the second broken 490 Myco that Alan's suffered from this afternoon, so hopefully he'll be able to borrow a machine from one of the other riders for the remainder of this event. But certainly no such mechanical problems for this man, Ryan Ireland on the 250 Honda. It's still number 368, Andy Farr, who is in second place. Number 75, David Loudon again going through on the 490 Yamaha. But as we look to the far side of the racetrack, it looks like Ryan Ireland has a decent lead over this man here, number 368, Andy Farr on the big 490 Myco. And as I said, we had the gale force wind blowing across the track almost the full day, and it was quite hard just to even stand upright, let alone film the bikes on the track, but hopefully it's still good enough footage for you to enjoy. So here's your race leader coming round to complete another lap. It's number 43, Ryan Ireland. Second place man is at number 368 here. That's Andy Farr on the 490 twin shock Myco. So we're catching up with the battle for third, fourth and fifth places. And third place is number 233 there, that's Graham Smith on his RM 400. Currently it's Nigel Sowerby who is in fourth position. It looks like Jonathan Bethel is in fifth on the big four-stroke Husqvarna. This has been a good race here by number 233, Graham Smith. Nigel Sowerby still managing to keep Jonathan Bethel at bay, but as a race leader comes round to start his last and final lap, it's still Ryan Ireland. Second place man is still number 368, Andy Farr. David Loudon, number 75, is currently still in third position, and it's Graham Smith on the RM400 Suzuki in fourth, who has currently got Nigel Sowerby and Jonathan Bethel breathing all over his back wheel as they make their way up the hill. So it looks like Jonathan Bethel has just made a move on Nigel Sowerby, so I think that puts Jonathan up into fifth position. Graham Smith is currently in fourth on the RM400 Suzuki, so Jonathan certainly making his way through the pack. He must have had a bad start at the beginning because he's normally at the front of this pack, so as they make their way up the hill, looks like Jonathan's moved up another place, but it's going to be a win here for number 43, Ryan Ireland. Second is going to be Andy Farr, number 368, and it's going to be David Loudon who's going to cross the line in third, and coming towards us it's going to be fourth place for Jonathan Bethel with Graham Smith in fifth. And so next up, these are the age-related races, which are always used in the second part of the day's race programme, and this time it's the age of the rider that determines what class you race your bike in, rather than the year and the engine size of your machine. But each class again gets 3 races, just as in the first part of the day's programme. So it looks like the riders are just about ready to go as they leave the line. A good start there by, it looks like Steve Dent has made a good start going into turn 1. And this class, of course, is the pre-77s, under and over 40s and over 50s, and also pre-77 60 to 65 age group, and the 125s. So as we look to the top side of the track, it looks like it's number 56, Tony Barnes, on that very quick 4-stroke CCM bike, who is your race leader. It's number 98, Liston Bell, who is currently in second, and it looks like it's Derek McCauley there in third on the little two. Oh, it looks like we've got a faller there. That's Ian Stainton, who's taken a tumble on his Clues Stroker machine. It looks like Ian's got his legs jammed underneath the bike, but certainly appears to be okay, but looking for a little of assistance, somebody to lift the bike off of his legs. I think that's what Ian's trying to say to the medic there. Just lift the bike off my legs and I'll get going once again. Lewis Bell going over there to lend a hand. So it looks like Ian's going to be okay. Hopefully he'll get back on that Clues Stroker very soon. So here's your race leader, number 56, Tony Barnes, on the Alan Clues CCM bike. It's still currently Liston Bell in second, one of Scotland's finest classic racers. Liston, of course, and his younger brother Lewis. But as the riders come around to complete lap 1, it's number 56, Tony Barnes. Second is number 98, Liston Bell. Just waiting on our third placed rider making the turn. Looks like it's number 29, that's Derek McCauley on the little 250 Spanish Bultaco Persang. And just coming towards us there is number 139, that's Craig Holmes on that ex Jimmy Aird BSA. But once again, this has been another good ride here by Tony Barnes, number 56, on the big CCM. Liston Bell still currently in second position. Looks like we've got a bike stalled in the turn there. That looks like it's Ian Marr on his lovely CZ machine. So looks like Ian's maybe stalled the bike or can't get it going, but that's a lovely machine, that CZ of Ian Marr's. So there's your race leader completing another lap, number 56, Tony Barnes, just coming up to pass Ian Ward on his BSA. That was another one of the bikes that we had a look at in our paddock walkabout, but certainly this man here, Tony Barnes, is absolutely flying on this 1974 or possibly even 75 CCM bike. But as you can see, the track holding up pretty well here, not too much dust flying about at the minute, thanks of course to the heavy rain that we had on the Saturday night. So it's certainly done us a favour in that respect, keeping the dust at bay. But still, it's number 56, Tony Barnes on the CCM, who leads at number 98, Liston Bell, in second position. So as our race leaders head towards the checkered flag on their last and final lap, it looks like it's going to be another well-deserved win for this very talented rider, number 56, Tony Barnes, on the big CCM, and crossing the line in second, it's number 98, Liston Bell. Mark Reynolds there, number 7. Looks like Mark's got some kind of mechanical issue with his Michael, which is very unusual for one of these German bikes. They very seldom break down. So that's Mark Reynolds there, number 7, who very neatly takes us on to race 14, and this is the pre-1984s under and over 40s and 50s. So basically these are the young pups of the twin shock class. So we'll try and pick up our race leaders as they make their way up the hill. It looks like Jonathan Bethel has made an absolute blinder of a start on that big 4-stroke Husqvarna. Second place looks like it's Ryan Ireland. Andy Farr currently in third position. Looks like David Loudon, number 75, in fourth, and Graham Smith close behind there in fifth position. But it's Jonathan Bethel with the early lead in this race on the big 4-stroke Husqvarna. A big lump of a bike, but nevertheless certainly not short in the grunt department. But having said that, Ryan Ireland's 250 Honda Red Rocket is certainly managing to keep up with the big Husky, but it looks like Ryan's already taken the lead now, so that puts Jonathan Bethel down into second position. It's still Andy Farr in third, but as they come round the complete lap one, it's indeed Jonathan Bethel who has still got the lead of this race. Ryan Ireland is currently in second, Andy Farr is still there in third, but Jonathan Bethel is just riding an absolute belter here as they make their way up the hill, and you can see the horsepower of that big Husqvarna 4-stroke motor overhauling Ryan's 250 Red Rocket. But this is where Ryan makes up the ground on the tight, twisty turns, because those little Red Rockets are super nimble and just almost made for these kind of tight and twisty racetracks. But it's still number 46, Jonathan Bethel, your race leader. Ryan Ireland trying to go down the inside but can't make it stick this time round. But hopefully Jonathan can keep Ryan Ireland in second place as they make their way up the hill. It's still Andy Farr there in third, but it looks like Graham Smith has stopped his bike in the turn. And that's Graham Smith there, number 233 on the RM400 Suzuki, but it's still Jonathan Bethel, the race leader. So Jonathan going very well on this big Husky. But you can see the big Husqvarna stretching its legs as they make their way up the hill, but as they get into the tight, twisty parts, then Ryan closes right up. And it looks like Ryan's going to try and have a go this time round as we get onto the twisties. Ryan going to try and go round the outside, but Jonathan certainly having none of it, and it closes the door as they come down the hill. But it's still Jonathan Bethel who leads at number 43, Ryan Ireland. But Ryan Ireland's going round the outside, but Jonathan's still in command of this race. So this is a good scrap here between the big 4-stroke Husqvarna and the relatively small, lightweight 250 Honda Red Rocket. So as the two front runners head towards the finish line to begin another racing lap, it's currently Jonathan Bethel who has the lead over number 43, Ryan Ireland. So Jonathan, as I said, riding an absolute blinder, but Ryan's going to have a go up the hill, but the power of that big 4-stroke Husky should manage to keep the Red Rocket at bay. But Ryan flies by going into the turn, so could this be the changing point in this race? So it looks like Ryan is already starting to stretch the legs of the Honda. Third place there is at number 368, that's Andy Farr on the 490 Michael. So Andy Farr still riding a good race here in third position. And I think it's still David Loudon, number 75, who is in fourth place on his YZ 490 Yamaha. But we're back with our race leaders again. It still looks like it's Ryan Ireland, the current leader, over number 46, Jonathan Bethel, in second position. It looks like Jonathan is dropping back ever so slightly, so it looks like this could be an easy run to the checkered flag for Ryan Ireland, but nevertheless Jonathan's doing very well there in second position. And as I said in part one, Jonathan is of course the son of the late great John Bethel, who was a big massive four-stroke CCM man, and I think Jonathan did actually ride CCMs at one time himself, but it looks like he's converted to one of these big Husqvarna four-stroke thumpers now, but still riding a good race here in second position. There's your third place man, number 75, David Loudon. David had to jump on his 490 Yamaha this time because he's had that mechanical issue with his 465 in a previous race. So there's your race leader on his last and final lap. And it looks like he's got this race in the bag once more, because Jonathan Bethel doesn't look like he's going to be close enough to make a challenge before the end of this lap. So this could be win number 5 or possibly even 6 for Ryan Ireland. Jonathan Bethel, cruising round there in second position, but nevertheless Jonathan started this race very well, but was soon overtaken by number 43 Ryan Ireland. So it looks like Jonathan's still going to cross the line in second position. There's your third and fourth placed riders, number 75 David Loudon and number 233 Square Smith. So it was a win for Ryan Ireland, second place Jonathan Bethel, and third place went to David Loudon. Okay, so next up we're moving on with the age-related races, and this is race 15, the pre-1984s over 58 years of age. So again, these are the veterans of the Twin Shock pre-1984 class. Our race starter there, Stuart Riddle, informing the riders it will be 6 laps of the track. So looks like Alan Botts made a cracking start there. So it looks like Alan Botts managed to get at least one of his 2 broken bikes repaired, because he's made a good start here in pole position as they make their way from the bomb hole up to the top of the track. So Alan Bott absolutely flying on the big 490 Michael. So as the riders make their way around on lap 1, it is indeed number 74 Alan Bott who leads. At number 22, I think that's Peter Carr in second position. It looks like one of the Sowerby brothers there in third. That could be Nigel or Gary in third position, but certainly no mistaking the race leader, Alan Bott. In fact, I think it's Nigel Sowerby, number 93, in third position there. So Nigel's made a very good start in this race. And certainly this pre-1984 or Twin Shock class, as they were previously called, is certainly one of the biggest classes within the Scottish Classic Motorcycle Racing Club, and we always seem to get quite a good healthy entry of bikes at each and every round, but we're always on the lookout for more. So if you fancy taking part, then get that big Twin Shocker out of the workshop and back on the track. So it's currently still number 74 Alan Bott who leads this man here, number 22, that's Peter Carr. I think Peter's still riding his little 250 Honda Red Rocket. It's still currently Nigel Sowerby, number 93, there in third position on the 490 Michael. And again, thankfully, the track not too dusty at this point in the proceedings. You can occasionally see the little puff of dust off the back wheels of the bike, but certainly nothing that would stop the bike's racing. But we're looking at number 93, Nigel Sowerby, in third place, and he's been chased by number 81, that's Chris Cannon on the Suzuki. But here's your race leader. It's number 74, Alan Bott, on the big 490 Michael, flying up that hill. So Alan certainly on the case here in this race, because he's had a couple of bits of bad luck with his machine in the two previous races. So hopefully Alan can make up for his bad luck in this race. Second place is still number 22, Peter Carr. Nigel Sowerby is still in third position, and Chris Cannon is currently in fourth. But Nigel Sowerby again riding a good race here. Both Nigel and his brother Gary both ride these big 490 Michaels. It looks like that's number 28, that's Mike Walker, who seems to have a bit of a problem with his Michael. You may remember Mike was in that turn 1 crash with one of the other riders earlier on, and Mike had to park up his KTM and dig out his old Michael to replace it. So just taking a look at some of the other riders making their way down. Number 411 is John Sinnott on his lovely 250 Honda Red Rocket. So it's still number 74, Alan Bott, your race leader. Hopefully Alan will be able to get this race done and dusted, because as I said, he did have a bit of bad luck earlier on, but hopefully his Michael will stay together to enable him to finish this particular race. Whoops. Well, this looks like a good performance here by Alan. Thus far, no issues with mechanical problems, but looking good for a win in this race. So there's your race leader, Alan Bott, who's just coming up to pass another Twin Shock racing legend, Bill Brown, the famous Willsport man, who, as I said, an absolute legend when it comes to Twin Shock racing. And Bill's still racing bikes in his later years, so well done to Bill. But it looks like Mike is still trying to get that old Michael fired up, so Mike Walker doesn't appear to be having the best of days at this round 5 event, but this man here is certainly doing better in this race. Alan Bott, number 74, as he comes across the line to start his last and final lap of this race. So this has been a good ride here by Alan Bott at number 74. So just a few turns to go to secure the win in this race. So it looks like Alan's bad luck is certainly turning better. So he's just a few turns away from the checkered flag now. So another good ride here by the man from Wigan, number 74, Alan Bott. Alan comes to take the checkered flag. It's a well-deserved win, and thankfully his Michael has managed to stay together in this particular race. Number 10 there, that's Gary Bucket, who seems to be having a bit of problems with his... Whoops, thanks for that, Gary. What was that you did? Well,